Welcome back. Thank you. Thank you to the Couples Money Revelation podcast. I appreciate you joining us today. And today is a very, very special episode. As I promised you guys last week, I was going to have a couple amazing people coming up. And today I have Austin Black from Freedom Money Coaching with me today. And he is another financial coach that we met about a year ago in one of our coaching groups and really just kind of hit it off. And similar type of coaching styles that we have, and we have a really fun topic tonight to talk to you guys about. But Austin, why don't you introduce yourself first and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, Brian, it's so much fun to be on a show and talk with other financial coaches because this is kind of my jam. This is what I love to do every single day. I've been coaching for about 4 years now with Freedom Financial Coaching and helping couples overcome their fear and frustration of money management so they can take complete control of their money. Um, it's really interesting how all of us kind of get into the financial journey different ways. And like many people, I was trying to get out of debt and accomplish that and learn a lot about financial management along the way. And now I get to help couples do the same thing and achieve greater success than they ever dreamed. So it's a lot of fun. My wife and I have been fortunate enough to pay off our house in less than 5 years, following the stuff that I teach my clients. And it's always an honor and privilege to be on a podcast and kind of share that story with folks.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I love it. And we did a fun episode with you. I appreciate you having on your podcast a few weeks ago. I can't wait for people to see that. That was a lot of fun. But we're talking, and I think we both agreed that we could talk about this stuff for hours. But we don't want to
Right.
we don't want to keep the people that long. But today's topic, you guys, is related to a little bit about, and Austin brought it up, so I'll give him all props for this. But a little bit about what I wrote in my newsletter last week and the most recent podcast. But we want to continue this and I want to hear everything that Austin's got to say. Since he brought it up, I'm going to put him on the spot a little bit here. But basically, he said, let's talk about the three pillars of financial management, how to win with money, regardless of what your income is. Because I just feel like this is a huge topic. A lot of people, depending on where you are in the country, for my example, well, in the world, in the country last year, a lot of IT people, tech people got laid off in a lot of
Mhm.
major companies. In Michigan, we had some crazy, big three GM, a lot of union strikes that lasted people a long, long time for several months here, and they were struggling with their income. Some of them got laid off, some of them got let go, some of them said, hey, here's your pension, have a good day. So I just kind of want that topic. I want to hear what you have to say about it because you brought it up, and I'll just kind of pitch in and have a conversation as we go. So what
Yeah.
is your thought process on that?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest lie that we believe in America today is that you can't get ahead financially unless you make a lot of money. And that is simply a false statement. There are so many people that make, adequate income. And I say adequate, less than $100,000 a year. There's a ton of people out there that have that kind of income that are financially successful, and I'm one of them. I mentioned that we had our house paid off in less than 5 years. My wife and I have never made more than $100,000 in our entire marriage, and we've been able to achieve such incredible financial success because of three core things. The first of those is behavior management, which is really, in my opinion, the key to winning with money. No matter how much you make, no matter how much you have, controlling your behavior and your actions and your reactions to your spending and saving decisions is what complete money man or is what being in full and complete control of your money is the result of. Um, Managing your behavior is it's not being restrictive, it's not being impulsive, it's being conscientious, intentional, and focused. And in my opinion, based upon my experiences when I've walked my clients through, managing your behavior is something that everyone has the ability and the capability to do, right? It's not based upon how much money you make, it's based upon what you do with what you have. So managing your behavior is something that I have seen be the ticket and the key and really the ultimate way that anyone can win financially and can be in control of their money.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that behavior comes down to, yeah, mindset. I know you work with, Austin works with a lot of couples. I do too, as well. And I think that just accountability comes into play a lot. And couples kind of, we talked about this before, but couples kind of have over the last few years, especially, I feel like the accountability kind of just disappeared, not in a
Yeah.
negative way, more so just like inflation, inflation, inflation. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And
Right.
then basically it's like we just not stopped caring, but we were almost like terrified that like, what are we supposed
Mhm.
to do? We talked about how inflation one year went up 7%, 8%, whatever it was, 3.5%. So inflation, my biggest thing is the last 2 years is, if we have two bars here, right? You have your income and whatever you get for raises, and you have inflation. Inflation went way up here. Our income stayed here, maybe raised whatever
Yep.
companies do, 2 to 3% or whatever they give you every year, but we
Yep.
kept spending like we were up here.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where the accountability and the behaviors just didn't change. But I think it was
Hmm.
just because of the go, go, go. Oh my God, I didn't realize that it's $20 to go to McDonald's for two sandwiches or something
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
Which it is, guys.
Right.
But yeah, so behavior, what else do you see about behavior that, do you think in a lot of your clients are kind of like causing stress in the last couple of years,
Mhm.
especially?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I have experienced myself and I've walked my clients through is understanding that we are in 100% control of our mindset, of our thought process, and of what we do with our money or what we let happen to our money. And there's two, big distinctions in that. Number one, you can let your money do whatever it's going to do, or you can tell it what to do. And whenever you tell your money what to do, it's going to do exactly what you tell it. It's not going to, money was not going to disobey us like our kids might. It's going to do exactly what we tell it to do unless we don't give it the instructions and the parameters. Then it's just going to go off and do its own little thing. So managing behavior, it's really not hard because it's 100% based around what do you decide to do. So therefore, you have, like I said, the ability and capability, but also you have the expectation. That's where a lot of people they honestly kind of give themselves the free ride out of, well, inflation is too high, or my housing cost is too much, or I don't make enough money at my job. There's always 100 different
Yeah.
reasons why we are succumb to the environment around us. And the reality is that's your choice to be in that environment. And that sounds harsh, I know, to a lot of people, but whenever we look at all of our choices on a daily basis, right? We choose to wake up and get out of the bed in the morning. We choose to brush our teeth or not. We choose to eat breakfast or wait until
Hmm.
lunch. We choose to drive to work at 80 miles an hour or 55. We choose to do all of these things throughout our daily life that have an impact upon the future and the success of our life. And money is no different from that. So we can either choose to make decisions and to act and to react in a way that improves our financial situation and improves our ability to make money and to save money, or we can choose to not pay attention to it, to not be prudent and wise with our decisions, and to just let life and money happen to us. And both of those choices will end up in very different outcomes, but it's all a matter of what we are committed to doing on a daily basis.
Wow, that's amazing. And one of my favorite things that I've always pitched the reason I was smiling just a minute ago was your examples were good too, but is inflation, the government, whoever you want to sit there and blame is not the
Mhm.
one grabbing your arm and sliding your debit card in. $10
Yes.
card, coffee
Yes.
or your credit card, your credit card, your credit. You're the one physically choosing that behavior to do
Hmm.
so. And that's not meant to be harsh, like you said. It's just that is your mindset, like you said, that you can live in the fast lane, or you
Hmm.
can take a step back maybe a little bit and say, okay, I don't get a grip on this. If I don't get a grip on this, I'm gonna end here and instead of staying straight or something like that.
Yeah. And I'll give you a perfect example. Whenever my wife and I got married, we rented our first house for about a year before we decided to buy. And whenever we bought our house, we bought it on a 15-year mortgage. We planned to pay it off in 7 years. And like I said, we ended
Wow.
up paying it off in less than five when it came down to it. But the way that we did that was we had that plan, that idea of, hey, we want to get this paid off early. So we put the numbers to paper and figured out what the calculations had to be to accomplish that. And then literally, Brian, every single month of those 4 years and 9 months that we worked on that mortgage, whenever we sat down and ran our budget and did our planning for that month, we made a conscious decision what were we going to do that month to enjoy life, and we enjoyed life. We went on trips and vacations. We went out to eat. We,
Mhm.
bought gifts for family. We did normal stuff. We were not
So
just
you didn't
staying
have
home.
to just eat rice and beans?
No, we yeah,
Oh, okay. And sit
we
inside
lived
and read books together
exactly,
and do nothing?
exactly, yeah.
Sing
Now,
Kumbaya? No?
granted,
All right.
this wasn't mortgage, it wasn't a car payment, it
Right.
wasn't, student
Right.
loan, it wasn't something we had to get out as fast as possible. This was a planned process. But every single month we made those plans and we chose what we were going to do that month to enjoy life and to enjoy what we were doing or to be paying off our mortgage. And by having that plan every single month, we said no to a lot of stuff like upgrading some vehicles and going on nice trips and upgrading some appliances and doing things that we had the money to do.
Hmm.
But we also said yes to, you know, making daily decisions to go out for a date night dinner, or to go on an anniversary trip, or to do these things that we still wanted to enjoy. So we made the choices between what was important to us and what could wait. And by doing all of that, we were able to make the choice to pay extra on that mortgage every single month and get it paid off in 4 years and 9 months.
Wow.
So a lot of people go, well, I can only do so much. You can only do what you set your mind to do and what you choose to
Hmm.
do. So that's my personal story that I always like to share with folks is, the daily, weekly, monthly process of making those decisions and saying yes to what matters and no to what can wait. That's what allowed us to accomplish that financial goal. Like I said, never making more than $100,000 a year.
Yeah, that's a great story. My story I've told a few times. It's on my website, but I have never really, well, I've told some people the nitty-gritty of it. Basically, we paid off our 70K and my student loans 70K. And this was, over a 6.5, 7 year period, but we also did a lot. We adopted two children. So
Hmm.
we could have paid it off a lot quicker. Kids and adoption are not cheap. So, but
Right.
we had priors. But even when we started, after my master's degree in our journey, my wife looked at me, my now wife, and said, well, we were just getting married. That was back in like 13, 14, we'll call it 14 is when we
Hmm.
really started paying on them. She said, listen, we can pay this, income driven 25-year, whatever they give you,
Yeah.
plan. But at the time I was working retail. She had a decent job. I mean, but she was still trying to like student teach and stuff. And so she had, I don't remember if she made 40K a year or whatever it was back in 10 years ago. But I was working retail, not making a whole lot of money, guys. I mean,
Hmm.
I was making, let's see, in 14, I was management, and then so I was probably making 17 an hour, maybe. So
Yeah.
35 a year, 40 a
Yeah.
year. So that's maybe 75 to 80. And we just said, well, we have 70K in front of us. We want to adopt two children because we had not adopted at that point.
Hmm.
We got to just turn on the tire. Like we
Yeah.
just went and we said, hey, anything extra that we have from saving and stuff. Now we had a little bit of help from her grandma leaving her money, but we didn't have that much. And I guess the point is we didn't make that much money and we were able to pay it off,
Hmm.
and adopt two children and upgrade a car, not to a new one, but like it's
Right.
up that was like in the middle. We needed a new used car at the point and
Yep.
in that journey too. And it can be done. It's just it's a lot of behavior. It's a lot of, hey, can I change my life even for the next year? I think I told you this quote a while ago, but
Hmm.
like even for the next year, so I can live my future how I want to live it, and it's gonna be
Absolutely.
saying some no's, like your friends saying, "Hey, let's go have dinner." Just be like, next time, maybe next month. We're not gonna like nothing against you
Well,
guys.
and the wild thing about it, because I've experienced this too, a year seems like a long time
For
until
a
you
lot of
think
people.
about a decade and a
Yeah,
lifetime. And then you're like, holy smokes, 12 months is a blink of an eye.
let's do
So
it.
if we can both from the committing to make a change for 12 months, also to realizing that this is not a long amount of time at all, and you can accomplish that. Because there's so many people that feel like they're going to be in debt or for years, or it's going to take 10 years to build up their savings. It's going to take X amount of time to pay off their car. And the reality is we can either think fast or go slow.
Hmm.
And whenever we put our mind to a decision, like you said, to change something for a year, It's going to seem like a long amount of time to do that until you realize I could cut my time in half if I do that, right? I could go
Right. Right.
from taking, being 5 years to pay off all my debt to now doing it in 2.5 or 2 or 18 months.
Hmm.
So we give ourselves way too much grace and not near enough credit for what we could accomplish in a year's time whenever we realize how short of amount of time a year actually is.
That's a great point. Great point. We got lost in that that was only part one. So I want to hear part two and part three, but let's try and
Yeah,
kind of combine it. So peace of mind for people's time frame here. But what does two and three look like for
you
you,
bet.
Austin?
So 2 and 3, this is where all of the doubts kind of get alleviated, all the questions kind of have come to light because we know that managing our behavior is what really drives it there. But there's some folks that are going to have a hard time deciding, okay, I am capable of doing this because I've got a spouse that's going to work with me, or I've got enough systems in place to make this happen. So, step number 2 is identifying your vision and get on the same page with your spouse.
Hmm.
Because if you're married and your spouse is not on the same page with you, no matter what you do, you're going to have a terrible time accomplishing your goals. It's just not going to work very easily. So get on the same page with your spouse looks like creating a positive money mindset. It looks like having a shared vision, a shared set of goals, and being committed to the process. And by committed, I don't mean that one of you wants it and the other one agrees to do it. I mean, you both desire it. You both believe in it. You both are driven and motivated by a universal passion and mission to accomplish the life that you want to live as a couple and as a family. And Brian, the interesting thing about identifying your vision with your spouse is whenever you work at something full force by yourself, you're going to accomplish it, but it's going to be a long, hard ride. When you work with someone to do that, but they are just kind of a support person that doesn't really lean in and pull their weight, they're going to support you, but they're not going to add much to the equation. They're just going to make you feel better about it. But whenever you and your spouse both decide we're going to lean into this, we're going to equally make the decisions, put in the work, share the struggle, share the successes, and make this unified vision, all of a sudden you're going to accomplish 4 times as much success as you would if you were by yourself because there's not one of you, there's two of you, and you both are leaning into it with all of your might and all of your force. And I talk about examples of this on my masterclass that people can tune into for free. But this is really the pillar that sets you up for success with your spouse because it's harder to do it on your own. And whenever you're working with a spouse that has the same vision and the shared mindset, you're unstoppable. So that's the second pillar that really brings success to this whole picture.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that real quick is because I'm thinking back on some of my clients recently and we've talked about this, is just basically what it means so much more than just saying, okay, let's get on the same page.
Yeah.
You're not gonna sit down and just like, if you're not on the same
No.
page, it's not gonna happen overnight. But what you want to realize is, so what I've seen with some recent clients is a lot of them have, like, when I ask them the question, like, what do you guys like when you accomplish this, this, and this? What do you want to do in 5 to 10
Mhm.
years? Like, what do you guys want to do? The answers are very similar,
Yes.
but the time frames are different.
Yes.
One
Yes.
person will be like, hey, I want to travel to Europe. We both do. Okay, how long do you think you can do that? I think we can do it in 3 years. The husband or the wife sitting there like, I was thinking like 7 to 10. And all of a sudden that becomes a discussion where it's like,
Uh-huh.
okay, you guys still aren't on the same page, but you're getting closer. It's just understanding that, yeah, and we have to have more conversations too.
Yes.
it's just like I've talked about this so much on my podcast and my newsletter is like we went through this weird, and me and Austin couldn't figure it out. I don't think on the last podcast that we did, but like we went through this weird time frame in the last 4.5, 5 years where it's just like we're kind of go, go, go. And all of a sudden couples are like scared to talk about their money. They used
Mhm.
to be pretty decent at it. Maybe you guys were really good at it back in the day. All of a sudden it was just like scared inflation, something hit us on the head, credit cards. Next thing you know, I don't even want to talk to my partner because maybe I'm embarrassed or
Yeah.
maybe he's embarrassed or blah, 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 you know?
And money is personal, money is emotional, and money affects every area of our life. And the reason that in a married relationship, couples can either have such incredible success together, or they can struggle significantly, in a marriage, is because you are having to talk about one of the most intimate things in your life with the person that you're the most intimate with. And if one of those two things is, is not in the 100% best condition, it affects the other very much so. And it makes those conversations hard. It makes managing money difficult. That's what I help clients with every single day, is figuring out how do we improve our communication with our spouse and our personal relationship with money, so we can feel confident in our marriage and feel confident with our money and make both of those work together,
Mhm.
not be working against each other. Because when they work against each other, you both are upset, you're both aggravated, you're frustrated, and that's where we end up having marriages that fall apart, because the relationship isn't strong enough to support the money problems, and the money problems cause more strain in the relationship.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to beat after that. That was perfect, man. That was perfect. That's amazing. So where does that lead us to? What's part 3 of your
So
journey?
part three, yes, this is where I take away everyone's excuses. This is where I say,
Ooh.
I don't
This is
care.
where some people are gonna hang up my podcast, probably. We're gonna be not tough, guys, but this is
Right?
truth. Truth. That's the word
This
I
is the
use.
truth. This is
All
the
right.
truth.
What do you got, man?
So Brian, whenever you were in math school, whenever you did a math problem, did the numbers ever change in the problem that you did?
No.
No. Because the numbers don't lie, math doesn't lie, and our money will only do what we tell it to do, or what we let it do. So the third pillar of this whole scenario is to create a plan for your money, and that is your budget. But creating a plan for your money tells it exactly what to do, where to go, and what to do whenever it gets there. And the lack of a plan is what causes your money to take over your life and control you and rob you of your goals and your dreams and your marriage. So once you have learned that, hey, if I can manage my behavior, I can accomplish anything I want to accomplish. And if I have a shared vision and shared belief with my spouse that we can do this and we want to do this, then all it comes down to, Brian, is deciding how will the numbers provide us the path to accomplish this. And the numbers get to be created in whatever form or fashion it makes sense for your lifestyle to accomplish your goals. So whenever you create a budget, to create a spending plan, you get to tell your dollars what their job is. You get to set the plan in place and then follow that plan and make it happen. So if you say, well, I can't get ahead financially, my first question is going to be, are you managing your money with a plan, with a budget, with a spending allocation, or
The
you
answer, their answer
letting it
will
just
be
run
no.
off?
The answer will
If
be
you're
no.
managing it, you're gonna achieve success. If you're not, it's your own fault.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What do you so what would you say to people that said, hey, I've tried a plan. Um, I had a plan going and then something happened because life happens. I
Yeah.
had an example, of someone, one of my clients from previous years that was like, hey, years ago I did it. I had this all together.
Mhm.
Life happened, divorce or whatever it was, and basically I fell off the wagon. So what would you say to those people that said, hey, what if I fall off the wagon? What if my awesome plan turns into mush for a minute? How do I get back on? Do I recycle back to step 1 and 2 or what?
Yeah. So a plan done right is always able to be flexible and to be adjusted and to accommodate whatever life throws at you. But if you set a plan and leave it and don't ever come back to it, it's
Mm,
not going to keep working for you.
mm,
So every time that someone says, "Well, my plan doesn't work," it's because they didn't change the plan when everything else started changing. They expected it to be the ultimate the deciding factor. And reality was
mhm.
their life wasn't the same. Their money wasn't the same. They had to make different choices and manage their behavior differently to keep up with life. And their plan got left in the dust. So a plan isn't a static set of numbers. It's not a static calculation. It changes every single month based upon what your life is bringing to you. And the beauty of a good plan is it will help support your life and protect you from disaster and from the unknown and the uncertainty, because you're the one in charge of it. And if you don't manage it, if you don't take care of it, that's whenever you run into troubles, whenever it stops working because you stop making it do what you needed it to do. So it all goes back, yes, to number one and number two, because the reality is you're the one in control, not your money, and even not your life. You're the one in control of managing how you're going to handle and respond to the situations that come at you financially, mentally, emotionally. And whenever you believe in your ability to do that, then you're always going to come out on top because you're committed to being in charge and of making everything else respond in a way that you can be in control.
You're making my job easy today, man. No, no. But what I would say, you guys, to that, everything he just said, you basically just described the last 2 years for people with this
Yeah.
inflation is like we kind of just kept going, right? And so
Hmm.
maybe you did have a great plan 2 years ago, and you
Yeah.
were like, man, we're cruising, COVID is over basically now, or whatever, our money's good and stuff. But we didn't change the plan. You got to
Hmm.
make a change, and people hate change. I get it. But at some point, you have to put, this is my tough piece of this podcast episode, is you have to put your pride aside. You really
Hmm.
do. Like you have to, you don't got to care about what other people think. Who cares about what the people down the street are doing? And stop comparing yourself. We're getting into last time we were talking about this, Austin, but stop comparing yourself to other people and family members and friends and stuff like that. Just your plan was originally this. Groceries, gas, everything else went way up. Your income
Hmm.
probably stayed here, like we talked about
Yeah.
earlier. You have to make a change. You have to say, hey, we can't do X, Y, and Z anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe we can only do X per month, until we get back on strap and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
I think that's been a very tough part of part one for everyone in the last few years is the behavior, right? Is
Yes.
saying, I have to change. I know I have to change. Not that I'm not willing to change, but like, how do I change? Now I'm
Yeah.
completely way behind because I didn't change quick enough,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the beauty of working with a coach or someone like me is, there's so many times where it's really hard to see where's the hole, where's the gap, and what does need to change. Because whenever you start out, you only see what you are doing on a daily basis. You don't see what someone else is doing, or you don't see what the outside perspective is. And then you also don't know how to adjust and how to adapt
Mm.
because there's only so much that we can tell ourselves is wrong before we don't want to admit it. There's only so many things that we can know we're doing right without being encouraged and motivated. So whenever you work with a coach, that's someone that can show you here is the three steps that you can do. Here's where you're strong, here's where you're weak, and here's how you can improve that. And I've done a lot of things on my own in my life, and every one of them took me longer, cost more money, and didn't achieve the result that I really hoped for. And as soon as I found someone that had been there, done that, and can show me the ropes and give me the steps, everything got better, faster, and I ended up making or saving more money in doing that. So it's a process that if you're willing to go on with someone, you're going to win every time. If you're scared, that's a good sign because it means that there's something better out there. You just need to take the step to do
Usually
it.
when you're scared, it's time to make a change. That's
Yeah,
the best part.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
well, that was awesome, guys. Thank you for coming on today, Austin. This was amazing. I hope we had a good, like, me and Austin could keep going. So we're gonna cut each other off right now, you guys, because I know I respect your time. But yeah, basically, yeah, there's 3 steps. I like those 3 steps. I think that if we all make a little bit of changes and have the willingness to change a little bit,
Mhm.
I think that we all can get back on the tracks if we're not right now.
Absolutely. And Brian, I just want to leave your audience with a couple ways that they can get in touch with me and kind of
Yep.
learn more if they
That's what
want
I
to
was
if
just
they
gonna
want to get
ask. How can
involved.
they get a hold of you, man?
You bet. So, I did a kind of a synopsis on this, but if folks want to take a deeper dive into this, I do have a free masterclass on how to become debt free and achieve financial security without the need for a huge income or restricted lifestyle. They can sign up for that class, or they can also just book a free discovery call with me. But they can access all of those resources at my Linktree accounts. That's Linktree/Freedom Money Coach, and I'll be sure that you have the link for that. But those are the ways that I can help people, and if they want to follow the Heart of Money podcast and hear your episode on there, they can do that as well.
It's
So it's a
coming
lot of
soon.
fun.
Coming soon. Coming soon. Well, yeah, and I will drop all the link or the link tree, whatever you give me, in the comments and everything on YouTube and Spotify and everything else, so everyone can get a hold of you. Thank you again for coming on, Austin. And you guys, we will see you on the next episode of the Couples Money Revelation podcast. Have a good
Thanks
night.
so much, Brian. I enjoyed it.
All right. Bye.